Hi there, this is Mr. Bruns. Today, we're going to be looking at Lesson 2. You should have that packet in front of you to follow along. And we're going to talk about real world, positive and negative numbers, and zero. So I want you to go ahead and look at this first example. A lot of times when we come across these big word problems, the biggest struggle for me as a mathematician is figuring out what some of the words in here want me to do in terms of operations. So we're going to read example 1 together. And as I go along, I'm going to circle or underline some words that I think I'm going to have trouble with and some words I think I know the answers to. And we're going to put that in a column. We're going to kind of talk about some of those. So go ahead and follow along with me right here. For Tim's 13th birthday, he received $150 cash from his mom. His dad took him to the bank to open a savings account. Tim gave the cash to a banker to deposit. This is one of the words that I am a little unsure of. So I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to see if I can talk through some of my thoughts on this one. The banker credited, that's another one of those, credit. I'm going to write that down as well. I've heard these words a lot, but sometimes when I see my math problem, I get a little anxious. The banker credited Tim's new account $150 and gave Tim the receipt. Now, I think I know what a receipt is, so I'm going to write that down under words I'm pretty sure I can describe myself. 1 week later, Tim deposited, I wrote that down already, so I think I'm good there, another $25 that he had earned as an allowance. You know what? I remember getting allowance as a kid, so I'm going to write that down under words I know right there. The next month, Tim's dad gave him permission to withdraw. That's one of those words too, withdraw. I'm going to put that under the same column right here. Withdraw. $35 to buy a new video game. Tim's dad explained that the bank would charge a $5 fee for each withdrawal from the savings account, and that each withdrawal and charge results in a debit to the account. Word debit. I'm going to put that down as well. So now that I got a couple words that I was kind of unsure of, and then I have some words that I think I already know. So I'm gonna walk through here. I saw some other words in here like charge. I think I know what that means too. So I'm gonna write this down right here. Charge. And let's see if I can get some definitions for some of these words. I know for receipt, it's kind of like a ticket that shows us how much you spent. I feel pretty good about that one. I remember as a kid that my allowance is kind of like the money I get for chores. So I'm gonna put money. And then I know a charge is something that I have to pay. Um, I see that a lot, or I hear that a lot. These are some of the words, though, that I really need to understand before I even start on this problem. So let's see if I can kind of brainstorm what some of these were and what operation or what positive or negative numbers might be associated with some of these. So when I think of withdraw, I'm an adult. I go to the bank quite often. And when I want to take money out, I know that's withdrawing. So if I'm taking money out, I think that's going to end up being a negative number because I'm taking it out. When I look at a deposit, that's kind of in the opposite end of the field. I'm putting money into my account, so I know that this is going to be a positive number. So that leaves me with these last two, credit and debit. And I think they're kind of associated with deposit and withdrawal too. I know just from going to the bank and having a debit card and a credit card, or even in school, I know when I get credit for something in school for an assignment, or I get credit for doing some chores at home, that's a positive thing. I'm getting something out of it. So I know that when I see that, it might be a positive word. Debit, though, is kind of the opposite of that. It's where they kind of charge your account or take it out or put something against your account. So I know that's going to be negative. Now, you'll see too if we go through some of these word problems, you're going to come across math words that I'm sure you've heard before, but you may have never used them in math problem solving. So it's good to have this. I'm going to have you stop the video right now, and I just want you to go ahead and see what word that you want to know more about. And it could be some of these words that you don't know. I want you to go ahead and type it in right now.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Russell, and we are going to be working on Lesson 2, Example 2. Okay, and that says that up here at the top. So if you look in your packet, you find that there. How hot, how cold? Temperature is commonly measured using one of two scales, Celsius or Fahrenheit. In the United States, the Fahrenheit system continues to be the accepted standard for non-scientific use. All the other countries have adopted Celsius as the primary scale in use. The thermometer shows how both scales are related. Okay, so we're going to look at letter A here. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Where is 100 degrees Celsius located on the thermometer to the right? Okay, well, it's kind of to the right and it's a little down here is what we want to look at here. So as we're looking here, okay, we see that there's the two scales, okay? The little dot here represents degrees, and then with the F there, it's Fahrenheit. And then we have degrees Celsius over on the right-hand side. So our first question is the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius, and we want to find 100 degrees Celsius on the thermometer, okay? So if we go over here, now this is a vertical number line here, okay? So if I look here about in the center, we see 0, okay? And we see how above 0, we have the positive numbers, and below 0, we see the negative numbers. So we're looking for 100, okay, over on the right-hand side. And if I start at 0 and I move up, okay, I see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it stops at 50. So they're kind of trying to trick us here because they want to say, where is it located? And we know that it's not located, okay? It's not located. So we're going to say here for our answer, it is not shown, okay? 50 degrees Celsius is the greatest temperature. Now, boys and girls, when we are filling out these sheets that we're doing with our lessons, it's very important that we write complete answers. So if this is what I am writing on the paper, you need to write exactly the same thing also. Okay, let's go on to letter B. On a vertical number line, describe the position of the integer that represents 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when we're looking at location again, we're going to go ahead and remember that a thermometer is a vertical number line. If we go back to 0 here, okay, and we see that we're looking for 100, well, it doesn't actually show up on the thermometer that we have here, but we know that 100 would be located 100 units above 0. So we're going to say it would be located 100 units above 0. And our units here is temperature, okay, because we're looking at degrees, okay, so that the degrees is going to be our units. All right, letter C, write each temperature as an integer. The temperature shown on the thermometer in degrees Fahrenheit, okay, so we would say that would be 100. Okay, and the temperature shown on the thermometer in degrees Celsius then would be, if we look across from that, just directly across from that would be about, well, okay, let's take a look here. It's not quite 40, okay, and we see where 30 is here. And if we go back and if we're looking at our units, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 between 30 and 40, and I know that there are 10 degrees between 30 and 40, so that means that each one of these lines to the side is representing 2 degrees. So that's going to make across from 100, since it's one line below 40, I know that's 38. Okay? Now, the next question we have is the freezing point of water in degrees Celsius. Well, they've already labeled that for us, so all we have to do is just use our eyes and read our thermometer, and it says freezing point of water in degrees Celsius, and we can see the arrow shows that's right at 0 degrees. Okay? Letter D says if someone tells you your body temperature is 98.6 or 98 and 600 degrees, what scale is being used and how do you know? Okay, well, if we think about that, if we know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, we would know that this temperature, we wouldn't want boiling. That would be a big fever, boiling blood, would we? So we know that this must be Fahrenheit. Okay. And the Fahrenheit scale is the one that we use only in the United States, boys and girls, only in the United States. All right. And letter E, does the temperature 0 degrees means the same thing on both scales? Well, let's take a look at this here. We see that at 0 degrees Celsius, we know that water freezes, okay? And we know that if you've watched any weathercast, you know that the temperature freezes in Fahrenheit about 32 degrees, okay? So they are not the same, so we're gonna say no. Okay, 0 degrees Celsius is equivalent to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So those are not the same there. All right. Now, one thing that I do want to remind you, boys and girls, is that at 0 degrees, let's take a look at this. I want to just kind of go over this with you. Negative 10 degrees Celsius can be read 2 different ways. So I want you to remember this. This can be read as negative 10 degrees Celsius, or it can be read as 10 degrees below 0. Okay, those are the 2 ways we could read this number. Okay, thank you.
Hi students, now you're ready for some additional practice. I want you to be thinking about these words that I'm going to give you and be thinking about if they would represent a positive number or a negative number. The words you're going to encounter are gain, loss, deposit, charge, debit, below 0, credit, withdraw, owe, and receive. For the next exercise, you are going to use integers to represent a given situation. Your first situation is a company loses $345,000 in 2011. You earned $25 for dog sitting. Jacob owes his dad $5. The temperature at the sun's surface is about 5,500 degrees Celsius. The temperature outside is 4 degrees below 0. A football player lost 10 yards when he was tackled. Great work, students. Now that you've practiced with these examples and these exercises, it's time to practice independently on your own. Get out that problem set and complete your problems. And don't forget to bring your exit ticket back with you tomorrow for class. Have a great day.